Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope you are all having a really nice day today. I was planning on doing a video and uploading it today on this film, which is called Confucian Confusion. This is a film directed by the great Edward Yang, released in 1994. Now, this happens to be my Japanese DVD of this, because as far as I can tell, it's out of print, although I think it's not wholly impossible to track down with English language subtitles, but let me just leave it at that. So I was going to make a video about this today, but unfortunately I've misplaced my notes, because I had a number of notes that I wanted to rely upon in talking about this film, because actually I rewatched it on a number of occasions in preparation, and it's actually a much more complicated film than I had originally given it credit for, and so I wanted to express that, and I really find this to be yet another example of Edward Yang doing something that is quite extraordinary. I'm not sure if it necessarily reaches the heights of A Brighter Summer Day or The Terrorizers, but it is quite worthy, and I think it has really grown in my estimation as far as being a singularly densely packed work, and there are quite a number of concepts that I didn't catch the first few times I saw it, but it's starting to dawn on me that this is actually much more complicated than I had originally thought it was. So that's to say that this is going to be highly recommended. So if you can find this, try to watch it, because I'm going to make the video and it'll be up next week. So as soon as I retrieve my notes, and I think they're somewhere around here, then I'm going to do that. So if you want to prepare, please do so, because I really encourage you to check this out, and or any of the other films by Edward Yang, because I'm going to try to finish up that series. But there's this, and there's Mahjong, and then there's Yi, and also there are a number of other things that I might want to talk about. But yes, so if any of you are interested, maybe I would recommend trying to catch a Confusion if you can. So in the meantime, I just wanted to touch base with you and let you know that yesterday it was Friday here in Japan, and I think I had mentioned before that I think I want to try to watch films that are outside of my comfort zone, outside of my little bubble. And in order to do that, I went and rented a film from my local DVD rental store, because here in Tokyo, at least where I live, there is still a rental DVD store here. They're starting to dwindle in numbers, unfortunately. So up until about last year, I think there had been 2 or 3 rental stores within my vicinity, but now that's dwindled down to just 1. It's still a big place, so it's really good, but it's I guess it's a sign of the times. But I guess I should be lucky that there is 1 at all. So I rented a movie, and I watched it, and it was a first-time watch for me, I must admit, and I found it to be very entertaining and quite engaging. It was the film The Avengers, so the first Avengers. I saw it, and I was very impressed. I was very excited and thrilled, and it was quite exhilarating. I liked it very much, so maybe I'll try to watch some other of these action films going forward. I don't think I'll be able to watch all of them in time for the Endgame, but maybe I'll try to catch that one of these days, maybe as my kids get older. So But that was a really great film. I was pleasantly surprised, and it was well worth the watch, and it was a nice way to wind down the week. So that was my little foray into the Marvel films. So hopefully that'll continue. I was actually thinking about renting that or renting what was it? Was the film Man of Steel? Because I hadn't seen that, and I was very curious about it because I had heard a lot of interesting things about that film. But I decided to get the Avengers instead. So it was great. I was very enjoyed. I enjoyed it very much. So thank you very much for your encouragement to those of you out there who are Marvel film fans. I'll try to keep going forward with that. Oh yes, so as some of you know, I am going through revisiting 60s and 70s Japanese, let's say, countercultural films, independent cinema. You might call it new wave cinema, but as I've said, I tried not to rely upon that term for a number of reasons. But for lack of a better phrase, Japanese new wave cinema of the 60s and 70s. And I think a lot of people have begun to ask me when I'm going to make any videos about that. And the answer to that question is I would love to. It's just, once again, time. It's the issue of time. What's right? It's sort of like Burgess Meredith in Time Enough at Last in The Twilight Zone. We just need time. I wish I had more time, but if I do have the opportunity, then perhaps I will try to do that. I really want to share with you the splendors and the surprises that are in these films. Now, I know many of them are, unfortunately, as of now, very difficult to get with English subtitles or with English support. In other words, they just have Japanese DVDs or Blu-rays, or in some instances only VHS tapes or even Laserdiscs. So it's been a quest for me to try to get some of these and try to upgrade my own collection. But that maybe I can show that in another video, who knows. But I think as a starting place, the films that I am really focusing on, I think, are the sort of early Oshima films, the early Imamura films, and of course those have linkages with, for example, the Criterion Collection. And so I would encourage you to explore some of the possibilities there, and perhaps there are even more possibilities that await you for those of you who are subscribers to the Criterion Channel streaming service. If so, please explore away, and I'd love to hear what your findings and discoveries are. But I think if I could mention just one particular set in passing as a huge recommendation, it would be this set that I'm about to mention. I think that as rich and varied Japanese cinema is, it is also, I think, like a very complex and quite confusing area. Very confusing for me. There are many aspects of this period of Japanese cinema that I cannot, to this day, wrap my head around. They are too maybe intellectually complex for me and quite daring, and I often find myself perplexed and not understanding, and my limited ability to achieve comprehension is so embarrassing. But yet I think that's the great impulse, or not impulse, but that's the great motivation and inspiration that I draw from them, and thus it makes me want to watch again and try to get as much as I can. Still, it's very difficult, and I think that is a sign, at least for me, of something truly exciting, something that is just engaging with you and daring you and pushing you and egging you on, so to speak, saying, work harder, Daisuke, you've got to work harder. And I love those sorts of films. And those I find most fulfilling and most exciting. And I think examples of that in this period of Japanese cinema that I'm focusing on at the moment in my own personal journey are these films. So this is the DVD set from the Criterion Collection. This set itself is spine number 392. Hiroshi Teshigahara. Hiroshi Teshigahara. Pitfall, Woman in the Dunes, and The Face of Another. And there's also a fourth disc with supplements. Unfortunately, this particular set is as of now, out of print. And I wish that would be remedied very soon by the Criterion Collection, because these films, Pitfall, Woman in the Dunes, and The Face of Another, are, simply put, among the most dazzling, complex, and frustrating and frustratingly beautiful films in the Criterion Collection, I think. And they are wonderful examples of the period of Japanese cinema that I'm talking about, at least the early portion of it. In particular, let me say that, let me just clarify my comment in that I think at the moment now, which is the middle of April 2019, the only film that is currently available on a Blu-ray and an individual Blu-ray release is, of course, Woman in the Dunes. And actually, I have the Blu-ray on the shelf, but I won't pull it off the shelf for now. But those of you who know what I'm talking about know that this alone is available on an individual Blu-ray release. The rest of the films are not. If you are able to watch them, however, maybe through streaming or otherwise, I'm not sure, or if you're able to find the set at a good price, used, eBay, I'm not sure what the possibilities are, then please, I strongly urge you to try to watch them, because believe me, you will, let me just put it this way. If someone were to contact me and say, hey, Daisuke, I just saw Pitfall. I just saw The Face of Another, and I love the films. Or I just saw Woman in the Dunes. You would have my attention immediately. I would drop everything I would be doing right now, and I'd just be reading your comment, just be responding in such excitement, saying, oh my goodness, someone has come and contacted me and let me know that they've seen the film Pitfall and The Face of Another, or Woman in the Dunes. I'd love to hear what you think. And so that would make me drop everything and just engage in conversation. That's how much I love these films. I don't even know how to explain it, except it's just better to watch. They are quite unique and perhaps even somewhat inscrutable, perhaps. But I don't think that's a bad thing. And I think there is a lot of poetry involved. There is a lot of experimentation involved. And there is a lot of real artistry at work here. And so if you can, please, I beg you to try to find these films. And if they are within your own budget, so to speak, then I urge you to do that. And if I can, I would just say that if you can watch Pitfall, I would be very happy. One of these days, actually, I am planning to talk about Pitfall, especially in the context of the history of the Art Theater Guild, or ATG for short. Now, I don't have time to talk about ATG right now, but if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about Art Theater Guild, there's a lot of material in English. So just do a Google search for Art Theater Guild or ATG Films Japan, and a lot, I think, will come up in English. So that might be something worthwhile to read about. But hopefully that's something that I do want to talk about one day. So that is to say that if you can, the Teshigahara set here is simply put one of the best. And if you can get it at a good price, great. If you can watch the films without necessarily having to pay out all this money for getting this OOP set, great. If you think perhaps Criterion, fingers crossed, will re-release this, resurrect it as a new Blu-ray set, oh goodness, wouldn't that be something, huh? We saw the BRD trilogy announced very recently, did we not? And that was a resurrected box set as well. And so I don't know if it is an indication of anything. Perhaps it isn't. Perhaps it is. If it's the latter, then of course I would love to see the return of this box set. Although I'm not sure if I can necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily hold my breath, so to speak. But that is to say, however, in terms of realistic expectations, maybe it might be something that is a little bit outside the realm of possibility. But still, it is better to hope rather than not hope at all. That's the box set. And incidentally, this set of mine is something that I got. When did I get this? I got it when it was released, and so this was many, many years back. And as you can see, it's over time, it's faded. It's been, I really should have taken more care of it. Maybe it was on the shelf and it got exposed to sunlight, and so it's a little bit faded and ding. There's some little tears on the box because it's a thin cardboard, so I didn't really take good care of it. But the discs are really great, and actually I like the wear and tear because it's an indication of how long it's been with me, I suppose. And it's a set that really means a lot to me. And last but not least, let me just say that I am also just going through the series, the Twin Peaks, it's called here, a limited event series. For, I think it's I'm starting it now for the 4th time. So I finished it through the 3rd time, maybe I want to say maybe it was January, February or something. And then now I feel the need to start it again for the 4th time because I can't get enough of this series. So, that's another thing that I always wanted to talk about, Twin Peaks and more David Lynch. I really love Twin Peaks, but again, it's just not enough time, my friends. Isn't that so frustrating? So many things that one wants to do and very little time. But who knows? This isn't This isn't a sprint. There's plenty of time going forward, so there's no rush. So perhaps one day I will share my thoughts about this series. I'm far from a Twin Peaks expert. I know there are many people out there who just know the ins and outs and the minutiae of the world of Twin Peaks, and I really admire that and respect that. But I do have some really strong reactions to certain aspects of the series, and in particular this series. I maintain that I've seen it all the way through 3 times. Of course, in terms of episodes, I haven't seen it in one sitting. I think that would be very difficult for me physically, but I have seen it, the series, all the way through, and in a number of sittings. And I must say that it is steadily becoming clear to me that this is one of the, it's probably going to be one of the key landmark works of this decade of American visual arts. There is so much here, and it's just fascinating to me. This is probably, maybe in a few years' time, this might be my favorite David Lynch work. It's truly remarkable thing. And so one of these days I will certainly like to talk about it more. Incidentally, I know that people who are fans of Twin Peaks will know this already, but just anyone who doesn't, there are many connections, of course, with Twin Peaks and David Lynch and the Criterion Collection. But here's one. So there's a connection between Twin Peaks, the series here, and this set, the Complete Monterey Pop Festival from Criterion. So if you're interested, might I suggest you watch Monterey Pop and see if you can find the connection. All right, my friends, so let me just end it there. I hope you're doing well. And again, I really apologize for not being able to upload this video on a Confucian Confusion, but I will do so in the coming days. And also, I will do the favorite Criterion Laserdisc cover designs. I've already have my list down. As long as it doesn't change between now and tomorrow, fingers crossed, then I will upload that very soon. Okay, my friends, thank you very much for your time and patience, and again, my deepest apologies. I hope you're doing well, and until we meet again, cheers.